CDL Practice Test, Florida, General Knowledge, Part 12. Question number 283. The distance that you should look ahead of your vehicle while driving is about at highway speed. A. 1 mile. B. 25 feet. C. 1/4 mile. The correct answer here, C. 1/4 mile. Explanation. While driving, you should scan the road 12-15 seconds ahead. At 60 miles per hour, your vehicle will travel 1/4 mile in 15 seconds. Question number 284. How many seconds does it take for a normal tractor trailer to clear a double track? A. 10 seconds. B. More than 15 seconds. C. More than 30 seconds. D. 14 seconds. The correct answer here, B. More than 15 seconds. Explanation. You can expect it to take more than 15 seconds for a regular tractor trailer to clear a double track, and 14 seconds to be safely over a single track. Question number 285. A major cause of fatal crashes is A. Poorly adjusted brakes. B. Driving too fast for road conditions. C. Overinflated tires. The correct answer here, B. Driving too fast for road conditions. Explanation. Always adjust your speed to fit current driving conditions including weather, visibility, tire traction, curves, and hills. In practice, this will sometimes mean driving at well below the posted speed limit. Question number 286. How far ahead should drivers look, according to the manual? A. 7 to 12 seconds. B. 12 to 15 seconds. C. 10 to 12 seconds. D. 5 to 10 seconds. The correct answer here, B. 12 to 15 seconds. Explanation. Good drivers look ahead for 12 to 15 seconds, i.e., the distance that your CMV will travel in 12 to 15 seconds. At highway speeds, this could mean roughly 1/4 mile. At city or residential speeds, it's roughly 1 block. Question number 287. Which of these is a sign of tire failure? A. Steering that feels heavy. B. A loud bang vibration. C. All answers are correct. The correct answer here, C. All answers are correct. Explanation. When driving, a loud bang, vibrations, or heavy steering can indicate that a tire has failed. Question number 288. Which of these statements is true about backing heavy vehicles? A. Helpers should be out of sight and use only spoken signals to communicate with the driver. B. It's safer to back toward the right side of the vehicle. C. You should avoid backing whenever you can. The correct answer here, C. You should avoid backing whenever you can. Explanation. Backing up a large vehicle is always dangerous, even with a helper. Try to avoid backing up as much as possible. Question number 289. Can a truck still be driven if a safety issue is found during inspection? A. Yes, as long as you sign a release form. B. Possibly. It depends on the importance of the broken item and the effect it would have on driving the vehicle. C. Possibly, if the item in question has a backup system. D. No, never. The correct answer is here. D. No, never. Explanation. No, it is both federal and state law that all parts of a vehicle are to be in working order before being driven. Question number 290. Which of the following is most likely to get stuck on raised railroad crossings? A. A low-slung car carrier. B. An empty moving van. C. A single-axle tractor making a return journey empty. D. A single-axle tractor pulling a regular trailer. The correct answer is here. A. A low-slung car carrier. Explanation. Emptier vehicles ride higher, which is a problem for overhead clearance, but can be a boon when it comes to clearing crossings. A filled moving van might have trouble, but an empty one should be fine. On the other hand, a filled low-slung unit, like a car carrier, may be in trouble. Question number 291. While driving, ice builds up on your wipers and they no longer clean the windshield. You should A. Stop safely and fix the problem. B. Keep driving and spray the windshield with washer fluid. C. Keep driving and turn your defroster on. Drive slower until you can see again. The correct answer is here. A. Stop safely and fix the problem. Explanation. If your view through the windshield is obscured because your windshield wipers aren't clearing the windshield, pull over as soon as possible and fix the problem. Remember, if you can't see, you can't drive. Question number 292. How regularly should you check your cargo? A. After every break. B. After every 4 hours or 200 miles, and after every break. C. After every 2 hours of driving. D. After every 3 hours or 150 miles you drive and after every break. The correct answer is here. D. After every 3 hours or 150 miles you drive and after every break. Explanation. To maintain the safety of yourself and other drivers, you should check your cargo every 3 hours or 150 miles. Whichever is less, you should also check your cargo after every break you take. Question number 293. How far ahead should you be looking while driving in town? A. 2 blocks. B. 1 block. C. As far ahead as you can see. The correct answer is here. B. 1 block. Explanation. While driving, you should scan the road 12-15 seconds ahead. At speeds that are typical of urban areas, your vehicle will travel about 1 block in 12-15 seconds. At 60 miles per hour, your vehicle will travel a quarter of a mile in 15 seconds. Question number 294. What is the IPDE method of driving? A. Identify, project, dedicate, execute. B. Idea, predicts, decide, execute. C. Identify, predict, decide, execute. The correct answers here. C. Identify, predict, decide, execute. Explanation. Identify, predict, decide, and execute. IPT is the step-by-step process behind the principles of defensive driving and complexities of visual perception in traffic. Question number 296. What things should you check during a trip? A. Check your maps and directions in the weather report. B. Check load stability by slightly swerving left to right in your lane. C. Watch gauges and mirrors and use your senses to check for problems. Look, listen, and smell. The correct answers here. C. Watch gauges and mirrors and use your senses to check for problems. Look, listen, and smell. Explanation. During your trip, you should be watching a number of things, such as your mirrors, gauges, instruments, lights, tires, and cargo. Use several of your senses, sight, hearing, smell, and feel, to detect possible trouble. Question number 297. Which of the following will not correct a drive wheel braking skid? A. Counter steering. B. Turning quickly. C. Stopping braking. D. Sharply braking. The correct answers here. D. Sharply braking. Explanation. When in a drive wheel braking skid, stopping braking, counter steering, and quickly turning will all correct your driving. However, sharply braking will not. Question number 298. Which of these statements about certain types of cargo is true? A. Oversized loads can be hauled without special permits during daylight hours. B. Unstable loads such as hanging meat or livestock require extra caution on curves. C. When liquids are hauled, the tank should always be loaded completely full. The correct answers here. B. Unstable loads such as hanging meat or livestock require extra caution on curves. Explanation. If you're carrying a cargo of livestock or hanging meat, slow down on curves and proceed with extreme caution. A cargo of hanging meat typically has a high center of gravity. Plus, hanging meat sways significantly when you're driving on a curve, making for a very unstable load. Livestock can move around or lean on curves, adversely affecting your vehicle's stability and making a rollover more likely. Question number 299. Which is not an effect on driving from drinking alcohol? A. Driving between two lanes. B. Speeding. C. Fast, sudden stops. D. Not turn signaling or failing to use appropriate lights. The correct answers here. B. Speeding. Explanation. While it is true that some under the influence do go a bit fast, often drunk drivers are unable to tell their own speed and will go under the speed limit, stop suddenly, weave, and run into curbs. Speeding is not an effect on driving mentioned in your manual. Question number 300. What is the greatest amount of play that should be in your steering wheel? A. 1 inch/10 degrees. B. 5 inches/5 degrees. C. None. D. 2 inches/10 degrees. The correct answers here. D. 2 inches/10 degrees. Explanation. There should be no more than 2 inches of play in your steering wheel to avoid problems. Question number 301. Which of these statements is true about brakes? A. Brakes absorb more heat to stop heavier vehicles. B. Brake drums cool very quickly when the vehicle is moving very fast. C. Brake fade is not caused by heat. The correct answer is A. Brakes absorb more heat to stop heavier vehicles. Explanation. Brakes use friction to convert the kinetic energy of your moving vehicle into heat. However, overuse of the brakes, which can happen if you don't use engine braking enough, can generate so much heat that brakes can fade, lose their effectiveness, or fail. Question number 302. What is the first thing you should try to do if your brakes fail while driving downhill? A. Call or radio for help. B. Shut off the engine. C. Get off the road as soon as possible. The correct answer is C. Get off the road as soon as possible. Explanation. If your brakes fail while traveling downhill, use an escape ramp if one is available. If not, escape onto an open field or a side road that flattens out or turns uphill. Question number 303. Which of these statements is true about causes of vehicle fires? A. Carrying a properly charged fire extinguisher will help prevent fires. B. Underinflated tires will not cause a vehicle fire. C. Poor trailer ventilation can cause flammable cargo to catch fire. The correct answer is C. Poor trailer ventilation can cause flammable cargo to catch fire. Explanation. Many things can cause fires, including underinflated tires, dual tires that touch, cargo that is improperly sealed or loaded, and cargo that is poorly ventilated. Question number 304. Why should you signal continuously while turning? A. It is usually illegal to turn off your signal before starting a turn. B. You need both hands on the wheel to turn safely. C. Both of the above are correct. The correct answer is C. Both of the above are correct. Explanation. State laws usually require you to signal continuously before starting a turn. As you approach the turn and perform the turn, keep both hands on the wheel for safety. Question number 305. During a trip, how often should your vehicle be inspected? A. Whenever a light comes on or every 12 hours. B. Every planned stop. C. Every hour. D. Within the first 50 miles and every 150 miles or every 3 hours. The correct answer is D. Within the first 50 miles and every 150 miles or every 3 hours. Explanation. Your vehicle should be inspected within the first 50 miles and also every 150 miles or every 3 hours, whichever comes first. Gauges should be monitored, but do not wait until one comes on to inspect the vehicle. Question number 306. What are 2 ways to know when to upshift? A. Use engine speed, RPM, and road signs. B. Use your watch and engine sounds. C. Use engine speed, RPM, and road speed, MPH. The correct answers here. C. Use engine speed, RPM, and road speed, mph. Explanation. Before driving your vehicle, check the driver's manual to find out the recommended operating RPM range. As you're driving, keep your eye on your tachometer as your vehicle increases speed. Shift up when engine RPM gets to the top of the recommended range. Another way to know when to shift up is to learn in advance which gears are suited to which speeds. As you drive, watch your speedometer and shift accordingly. Question number 307. Hydroplaning, A. is more likely when the tire pressure is low. B. only occurs at speeds above 50 miles per hour. C. cannot occur while driving through a puddle. The correct answers here. A. is more likely when the tire pressure is low. Explanation. Hydroplaning is more likely if traction is low. This can happen if the tire treads are worn or the tire pressures are low, because there is less pressure pushing down on the road to supply traction. Question number 308. The distance that you should scan ahead in a congested area is about A. 32 feet, B. 2 vehicle lengths ahead, C. 1 block. The correct answers here. C. 1 block. Explanation. Most good drivers look at least 12 to 15 seconds ahead. At lower speeds, that's about 1 block. At highway speeds it's about a quarter of a mile. Question number 309. Medical certificates must be renewed every A. 4 years, B. 9 months, C. 2 years. The correct answers here. C. 2 years. Explanation. An FMCSA approved medical examiner's physical examination is valid for up to 24 months. However, the medical examiner may issue you a medical certificate that expires sooner if you have a medical condition that should be monitored more frequently, such as high blood pressure.